Legacy 1160 WSKW. Good morning. Good morning to you. How are you? Welcome to Tuesday. It seems like a Monday to me. And the reason for that is, well, we were off the air yesterday. We lost our power here in the studio. Just to let you know what happened. We're still having fair amount of transmitter problems. So our AM signal is down, and that's why this is my top story. If you're listening to AM right now, the AM signal is down. That's a classic WKRP bit. You remember that? Well, we're off the air. Les. Well, that was my top story. Remember, I don't remember what it was. Oh, was there something at the WKRP transmitter, I guess. So they were off the air. And I mean, our transmitter went down Sunday during the storm, and we've got ice on the antenna, apparently. And there's no heaters on the antenna, I guess. It would make sense to me if there would be no ice on the antenna. So there's that. And the studio power went out yesterday all day. I guess there was some kind of an accident. And to add insult to injury, you know, we had all the power outages CMP was trying to fix from the storm, and then somebody hit a phone pole, and I hope they're okay, not sure. Didn't hear any. I just heard about that this morning. So we'll get underway. We have your pep rally for freedom online only, but that's okay. We get a fair audience online. I don't know if this is apropos or not. I think it is. This is for Chuck Yeager. Crosby, Stills, and Nash, Legacy 1160.
Just a song before I go, to whom it may concern. Traveling twice the speed of sound, it's easy to get burned. When the shows were over, we had to get back home. And when we opened up the door, I had to be alone. She helped me with my suitcase. She stands before my eyes, driving me to the airport and to the friendly skies. Going through security, I held her for so long. She finally looked at me in love, and she was gone. Just a song before I go, a lesson to be learned. Traveling twice the speed of sound, it's easy to get burned.
It's time for the truth, and you found the home of it right here.
My name is Ted Nugent, and these are my rules of engagement. Trample the weak, hurdle the dead, destroy evil, win the damn war. Quick, identify the threat to America and destroy it.
Here's your truth-telling, freedom-loving, flag-waving host, John James.
Hey, welcome. How are you? Sorry, I'm a little preoccupied right now, trying to get us up into all of the streaming possibilities that we can get. So I'm in the process of getting us on Parler and USA.live, which are a couple of new free speech social media sites that you should be on if you are on social media. So I've got to deal with this here. 377929. That is my special code that Parler has asked me for, and I am in. And we will do the same thing with USA.live here. Again, USA.life, Life. Sorry. We got a lot of messages waiting me there. Oh, there we go. It makes noises, too. I like that. I kind of like that. Okay, I can't figure out how to post right now. I tell you what, we're gonna do Today in History. Thank you for joining us this morning. By the way, if you're on YouTube, we are streaming live at legacy1160.com, so you can find us there. Just a second here. Unfortunately, the Today in History I had prepared is from the 7th, from yesterday. And that's not going to work because yesterday is gone. in case you didn't know that. Today is the 8th. By the way, yesterday, Pearl Harbor Day, and hopefully you had a chance to think about that and thank any World War II veterans in your life for their service. Thanks to all veterans. I mean, we use these occasions to thank all veterans, right? Not just veterans who were at Pearl Harbor, but all veterans. Thank you very much for your service. A day late, but not a dollar short, certainly, because you can't thank veterans too much for their service. 9:18 right now. Let's take a look at Today in History from the Associated Press. It is December 8th, and this is Legacy 1160 WSKW.
A date which will live in infamy.
December 8th, 1941. America enters World War II as Congress declares war on Japan, a day after its attack on Pearl Harbor. President Franklin D. Roosevelt tells lawmakers during a joint session in Washington,
with confidence in our armed forces, with the unbounding determination of our people, we will gain the inevitable triumph, so help us God.
Days later, the U.S. declares war on Nazi Germany and fascist Italy after Japan's Axis partners declare war on America. And 1980,
Imagine all the people living life in peace.
shock and grief around the world after the murder of a music icon in New York. Rock star John Lennon, former member of the Beatles, is shot to death outside his apartment building. His killer, Mark David Chapman, an apparently deranged fan. Lennon was 40 years old. Today in History, December 8th. Camille Bohannon, The Associated Press.
All right, I think we're ready to go here. It looks like we're up on Parler now. Looks can be deceiving. Okay. By the way, I figured out Parler. I figured out why people say parlay. The name of the social media outlet is Parler, and I guess when you post, you parlay. Does that make sense? I guess it does to me because I just noticed when I posted, it said parlay. Now, I don't know if this is working on Parler or not, but it seems to be. And USA.life, I know it's working. And, of course, we are on Facebook, so I'm talking primarily to the streamers. I'm talking completely to the streamers this morning, whether it's at legacy1160.com, audio brought to you by the Harry J. Smith Company. The video broadcast is brought to you by Moody's Collision Repair, locations throughout Maine. We're at legacy1160.com. We're also on, oh gosh, what are we on? We're on a bunch of them, obviously. Parler, USA.life. We're on Facebook at Legacy 1160, at American Women Who Bear Arms, at Right America Media and at my page. So we are all over the place, and hopefully you have found a home here if you love freedom. Boy, do we have a lot I've accumulated about the election fraud. And I couldn't believe Chris Wallace. Did you see him blow up on, who was it? I forget who he was talking with from the administration. And he referred to Joe Biden as Vice President Joe Biden. And three times, Chris Wallace, sir, it's President-elect Biden. Chris Wallace, no, it's not. I don't care how long you've been in media. I've probably been in media as long, if not longer than you, Chris Wallace. He's not the President-elect. He is not the President-elect. What do you not understand? Will he be the President-elect? I'm not saying he won't. I'm saying he's not. That's all I'm saying, Chris. And everybody else in mainstream media, he is not the President-elect. Not yet. Hopefully not ever. Get it through your skulls. Accept it. I'm not saying accept defeat. I'm not quite that confident. As I've told you, I'm losing faith, but I've got plenty of hope. And it seems to me, tell me if I'm wrong. It seems to me like not only is the media complicit in covering up any problems with the election, but so is the political class, Republicans, Democrats alike. Look at Raffensperger and Brian Kemp in Georgia. Look at them. They're ruling against every step of the way. We've got Republican judges ruling against. There's over 1,000 affidavits out. 70 million people don't think this was a fair election, including many Democrats. So how can they just turn their backs on us and say, no, nothing to see here? With the video evidence, with the implausibility of the number of votes Joe Biden got. Something really stinks here. Do they underestimate the power of the people? I think they do. I think they do. They completely underestimate us. And I'm telling you, I'm not trying to draw any conclusions here. I'm not. But I do want to point out, this is one of the big reasons the left is always, including Kamala Harris, including Joe Biden, are always calling for more gun control. Why do you think that is? Why do you think that is? There's nothing worse than an armed, free citizenry when the government goes awry, when they get tyrannical. There's nothing worse than an armed citizenry. Not to mention the military. Hello? Do you think the military, who fights and dies, who signs up, they sign their life on the dotted line, up to and including their lives, to protect the Constitution of the United States? And if that Constitution is being protected only by them and being dismissed by our government, who do you think the military is going to turn on? My humble opinion. Who should they turn on? My humble opinion. I'll tell you who. I don't think I need to tell you who. I think you know. And I'm not drawing any conclusions. I'm not. I'm just floating some possibilities. And the possibility is as real now as it's ever been. Don't you think? Don't you think? You need to be here. You need to be here. You need to share this. If we have to take video streaming down, then we've got not much left. If the transmitter's down like it is right now, we've got not much left to build a group of freedom-loving Americans who we will tell the truth to, while mainstream media sits on their laurels and their low ratings, higher now thanks to the fact that people ditched Fox, not by calling for a boycott, because conservatives aren't unhinged like liberals are. Liberals call for boycotts. Conservatives just act. We just do it. As the Nike slogan says, don't call for a boycott, just do it. And they did. And we did. It's 9:27 right now on Legacy 1160 WSKW. John James, your friendly host, the friendliest host you know. I was just looking at my Parler profile. John James, by the way, John, Jon James, if you want to find it. I've still got my cover photo. You get a cover photo on Parler just like you do on Facebook. Same with USA.life. My cover photo is my wishful thinking back then and still now. Adrienne Bennett from Maine's 2nd District. I've got her there. She is pictured with a flag. I love this picture. I love this picture. It's Adrienne Bennett. She is aiming my gun. My double-barreled 12-gauge holds, not to brag, but it holds 16 rounds. It's a DP-12 pump action with it's got some nasty-looking breech on both barrels. Get right into a doorway with that sucker. And well, obviously she didn't win in the primary, so she didn't go anywhere. But she would have. I think she would have beat Jared Golden. I really do. But that's only memories now. We move on, right? We have to move on. We aren't moving on in the election yet, though. Will not. We cannot. We cannot give up hope. And it's out of our hands. We have no control over what happens from now on. We would expect the courts might, but the courts have let us down. Is there a rule of law in this country anymore? Is there any desire to find out what's going on in this country anymore among the political class, Republicans and Democrats? I'll throw them all under the bus. I don't care. At this point, I don't care. I am proudly a libertarian. This is why I don't like parties. I'm a free thinker. Oh, believe me, I think far more right than I do left, clearly. But I will not align myself with the two corrupt political parties in this country, of which the Republicans are one. You need look no further than people like Mitt Romney. Mitt Romney is a poster child for corruption in Republican politics. There are a lot of them. Mitt Romney is just a convenient example because he's a never-Trumper. There are plenty of others. 9:30 right now on Legacy 1160 WSKW. We'll get right to what's going on, and there's a ton of stuff. I have saved everything I prepared yesterday. I've got a bunch more today. We'll hear from Rudy Giuliani, Jenna Ellis, Sidney Powell, all straight ahead. Don't go anywhere. We've got it for you. Freedom's Pep Rally. I'm John James.
AM 1160, WSKW.
If you've checked that gift list twice and it's got something different for everyone on it, just head to Town Line Antique Center on the Winslow-Vassalboro Town Line. With 2 floors and over 50 dealers, you can find the perfect gift for each one of them. Are you worried about spending too much? Town Line Antiques is here to help with that too, because all December long, every booth at Town Line Antiques is offering discounts of 10, 20, 30, 40, and some even 50% off their selection. There's always new cool and unique gift ideas, including collectibles, furniture, artwork, signs, books, and so much more. Of course, the problem is you'll not only find lots of great gift ideas, you'll come across things that you might want to take home too. But with their December sale of up to 50% off store-wide, you can take them all home for less. So don't miss out on the Santa size sale with savings up to 50% off this December at Town Line Antiques, open Tuesday through Sunday from 10 to 5. Route 201 right on the Winslow-Vassalboro Town Line.
Take it to Moody's. Take it to Moody's Collision Center.
If your car is a wreck and you don't know where to go,
take it to Moody's.
You wanna get on with your life, get on with the show.
Take it to Moody's.
Good people you can trust and it won't be a fuss.
Take it to Moody's Collision Centers.
MOODY. Your kid was talking on the cell phone, drove right through your own home, sitting in the parking lot. Maybe you get hit a lot, driving through the green light. Suddenly your side swipe, put it in reverse, but it turned out that it was first.
Take it to Moody's. Take it to Moody's Collision Centers.
Hi, it's Doug and Dan from Generators of Maine in Belgrade.
Are you working from home? Will your children be home doing schoolwork? And you know how important it is to have access to the reliable power source.
That's why you need a Kohler generator from Generators of Maine. Kohler generators deliver reliable power whenever yours goes out, and we're always happy to offer delivery and installation.
Get prepared today for those upcoming power outages with a Kohler generator from Generators of Maine. Stop by our location in Belgrade, visit online at generatorsofmaine.com, and like us on Facebook.
I'm CBS 13 meteorologist Matt Honig. Cloudy and cool for our Tuesday, but it's a dry day. High temperatures will be mainly in the lower to middle 30s. More clouds are ahead for our Wednesday, perhaps even a few snow showers across some inland towns. Another chilly day with highs in the lower 30s, turning a bit brighter and a bit warmer for Thursday with highs near 40 degrees.
Your pep rally for freedom is back, powered by the Gun Shop in Augusta on Coney Circle. Now, here's John James.
Welcome back. 934, Legacy 1160 WSKW. Ooh. Transmitter's off, by the way, if you're watching on the video right now and are wondering, where's that AM signal? Well, there's ice on the antenna. We are, and people watching, I know we've got viewers in Florida and southern Florida and other parts of the country that we hear from time to time. And for those in the warmer climates, yeah, we've got ice here. We absolutely have a ton of ice here. And the snowstorm was horrible. The snowstorm was absolutely horrible. It was wet. It was heavy. I didn't throw out my back, though. I lifted heavy snow. My back hurt a little bit, and I thought I tweaked it. You know how that happens. But I had an adjustment with my chiropractor, the great Dr. Netto in Augusta, on Friday, and so I was all ready for Saturday's storm. And by Sunday, when I get out and shoveled snow, my spine was in good shape. In fact, I feel better physically than I have in a long time, with the exception of one knee, which doesn't bother me except when I kneel down. I don't know what it is. He adjusted that. He didn't know if that would help, and it didn't. So last night I put some CBD stuff on it, my little CBD stick, because that stuff has proven to be amazing for me. I don't care what anybody says about the CBD oil or the CBD. And this doesn't have the THC in it. It's just the CBD. It's like a speed stick, like one of those things you put on under your arms, and it smells. It's got almost a menthol smell to it. I love the smell of it. And it's really, it didn't help my knee, but it's helped every other ache I've had, my elbow and my arm, my back, and a couple of other places. I can't remember, not mentionable places. Are you kidding me? It's a 936 here on Lake 60, WSKW. And right going on, and what you need to know about, which you may or may not hear anywhere else, unless you do the type of show prep. And why would you if you don't have a show? Why would you do show prep if you don't have a show? Well, the answer to that is you wouldn't. Why would you? You are busy. Busy, busy, busy. That reminds me, Frosty the Snowman's going to be back, or probably already is. So you're very busy. You don't have time to pour through all of the stuff that I do as my living, which is nice. I do it as a living, so I have to do it. It necessitates I look for this stuff. And I will tell you something I found out, which is no surprise. I want you to know this. I want every leftist listening to know this. Iran is very, very happy that it looks like Joe Biden could be the next president of the United States. Iran is very happy. Why is that? Because the Iran nuclear deal is going to be back probably, because they love that. That was great for them. It was great for the pocketbook. It was great for them. It was great for them to continue to oppress the Iranian people. They love it because the Democrats do this. This is what they do. They are not freedom-loving people, the Democrats, not the leftist Democrats. I'm not talking about the garden variety Democrats here. I am talking about the leftists and the radical leftists and the socialists and the communists, which is what you've got if Biden-Harris go into the White House. You have got your very first taste at a junior communist government. How does that feel? And everybody loves it. Look at who they're putting as part of their inauguration team. Part of their inauguration team includes Gretchen Whitmer, Lady Lockdown in Michigan, Eric Garcetti, the Lockdown Lad in Los Angeles. These are communists. These are totalitarians. These are tyrants, and they're part of Biden's inner circle. Isn't that nice? Doesn't that make you feel all warm and gooey inside? If so, then you are sick. You are very sick up here inside the skull, and you should be checked immediately. But unfortunately, the people who do the checking are probably in the same party and the same mindset you are, so it would do no good probably at all. So take it from me. I'm your psychologist. I am going to say if you are a radical leftist and you love the lockdowns, you love the totalitarian rule of the leftist Democrat Party, then you are sick. You have a mental disorder. FYI. Can I diagnose you? I can't prescribe anything except a little truth, but I will bring that to you right now. So sit tight. Here we go. This is from PJ Media. I love the way they wrote the first paragraph, so I'm going to read this to you. Amid all the high-fiving and champagne cork popping that the establishment media has done, indulging over his fraudulency, Joe Biden's so far successful theft of the 2020 election, the Times of London has sounded a decidedly discordant note, running a piece Saturday with the startling headline. Here's the startling headline. Get ready for this. This was in the London Times. Quote, Trump had Tehran on the ropes. Now our hope is gone. Let me repeat that for you, because this is of the utmost importance to not just the survival of our country, but the survival of mankind. Donald Trump is a genius. Donald Trump is a great American leader. Don't let anybody tell you different. Oh, orange man, bad, the orange Hitler. Those people saying that, they're beyond healing. They are out of their minds. They don't know what they're talking about. They think they know all about politics. They think they know all about history and World War II and Hitler, but they don't know a damn thing. Surprise. So anyway, what the London Times says is true. What the Times says is true. If Donald Trump leaves the White House in January and Biden, Harris, Pelosi, Schumer, Obama, Soros follow through on their plan to reinstate the disastrous Iran nuclear deal, the best chance to topple the Republic, one of the world's worst human rights abusers, will be gone. Now, where is the women's movement on this? Where are the gay rights activists on this? Are they all Biden voters? I find it hard to believe that if they have any mind left that hasn't been tainted with liberal doctrine, that they should be railing against the incoming administration. They should be all for the recounts. They should be all for the audits of the Dominion voting machines. They should be all for the signature audits on ballots. They should be all for it, because nobody treats women and gays and other minorities worse than Iran. Nobody treats them worse. We are talking death. We are talking stoning. Who knows what else we're talking? It's damned Iran. Hear me out. Hear me out here. There's more to this PJ Media article. I want you to hear some of this. Iran is only the start. We've got the Paris Climate Accord. We've got the WHO in bed with China. Oh, this is all going to come back. The swamp is refilling as we speak. The swamp is rising faster than ever. It's going to be beyond where it was when Donald Trump took over, because they have run out of patience to take over our country, to take over our freedom, to make the world one world government. They are running out of time. They're impatient. They want to get her done. In the words of Larry the Cable Guy, listen, do you remember the Iranian people? They had, I can't remember exactly what they had painted on the streets, like the American flag or USA or something, and they were all staying on that side of the line because they loved what America offered, what America's promise was, that Donald Trump was in power, and it emboldened the poor Iranians who are under the thumb of the ruling class, just like we're going to be. Barack Obama, let's go back here. Was it just a coincidence that the Iranian people began to make their deep dissatisfaction with the Islamic Republic known while Donald Trump was in the White House? Maybe. It is he who began the erosion of the acceptance that the mullahs had won around the world. And he, Donald Trump, who began to put pressure on them with new sanctions that did not, contrary to the confident predictions of establishment foreign policy experts, solidify the Iranian people in hatred of America. Instead, what it did, turned the Iranian people against their vicious and inhumane regime, once again vindicating Trump's flouting of the conventional State Department wisdom, which has gotten us nowhere. That wisdom has gotten us nowhere. But they're the establishment. Trump is just a mere outsider. Trump is so much smarter than anybody thinks. You can't judge a book by its cover. Oh, you see him on the Billy Bush bus grab a woman by her. They never let up on that. They never let up on that. And they're stupid. They are stupid now in retrospect. How stupid are they? How stupid are they? How ignorant are they? How brainwashed are they? They make 4 years of this keeps resurfacing. Oh, Billy Bush bus, yeah, grab a woman by her. And yet you've got a woman who literally accused Joe Biden of doing more than grabbing her, but literally raping her back in the 90s. And now all of a sudden, nobody talks about it. Not even Kamala Me Too Harris. Isn't that convenient? Isn't that so convenient? Human rights atrocities. Joe Biden, look at him. He has done nothing in almost a half century. So let's give him a chance of being president. It doesn't pass the straight face test. None of this does. It doesn't. It just doesn't wash. And not to mention, he didn't campaign. He stayed in his basement all summer long. Barack Obama betrayed the demonstrators to every grisly fate that the mullahs could devise for them in torture chambers. Barack Obama enabled the mullahs, enabled them to control the people. Because that's what Barack Obama really wanted to do. Thankfully, 200 plus years of a constitution has made that a little bit tougher to do here than in Iran, but they haven't given up. Bent on concluding the disastrous nuclear deal that lined their oppressors' pockets with billions and set the world on a path to catastrophic nuclear attack, Obama ensured the U.S. government didn't lift a finger to offer a word of support for the protesters, even as they were being gunned down in the streets. Pro-freedom protesters. Muslims. Just like Muslims are being put in prison camps in China. Where are the human rights outrages? Where are the leftists in this country, the crybabies? The human rights atrocities. You're allowing it. You are allowing it. America first. But you can't look away from what goes on in other countries with fellow human beings. You cannot do it. But they do. They do. Why do you think that is? Do you think there's something sinister afoot? Do you think there is some plan? I'm not talking about just the leftist Democrats. I don't know. I wouldn't, at this point, after seeing Republicans turn their back on Donald Trump in this hour of need, not for him, for the nation. Forget about Donald Trump. I mean, don't forget about him. I mean, he is the savior of freedom, I think, in this next term. But forget about him. We're not doing it for Donald Trump. We're doing it for America first. But we're also doing it in a way that will help other countries who are undergoing all sorts of problems now that they think Biden is going to be president. I'm talking about fear of God in these citizens who were emboldened to protest against the mullahs for freedom in Iran because Donald Trump had their backs. He took out Soleimani. He was roundly criticized by the left for taking out a terrorist. That should give you a little insight into how their minds work. They don't. They don't. They have no clue. They are clueless little infants. Worse than infants, infants react when they see things that scare them and should scare anybody. Leftists don't. Leftists, nothing to see here. State Department spokesman Heather Nauert said, quote, Iran's leaders have turned a wealthy country with rich history and culture into an economically depleted rogue state whose chief exports are violence, bloodshed, and chaos. As President Trump has said, the longest suffering victims of Iran's leaders are Iran's own people. Press Secretary Sarah Huckabee Sanders added, quote, "There are many reports of peaceful protests by Iranian citizens fed up with the regime's corruptions and its squandering of the nation's wealth to fund terrorism abroad. The Iranian government should respect their people's rights, including their right to express themselves, but they don't." Do you see a correlation between what's going on in Iran and what's going on here? Do you see a correlation between the people protesting peacefully in Iran and the people trying to protest a rogue government in the United States who are shut down almost immediately by institutes of higher education, by leftists who come out and do damage to humans, to property, and everything else? Do you see a correlation between the absence of free speech in Iran and the declining of free speech in America? You should. And that should scare the hell out of you. It does me. The pressure on Iran continued, and Trump even went so far, as the whole world knows, to confront its global belligerence and stop it in its tracks. And here is the most important part. 4 more years of Trump may have meant the dawning of a new era of freedom in Iran, as it would have continued to be shaken to its core. But instead, with their man likely coming into the Oval Office, that being Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, for the mullahs, it's time once again to let the good times roll. And you know what is meant by good times. Not so good times for the innocent, freedom-desiring citizens of Iran. Big win for Joe Biden, Kamala Harris. When they win big, it has nothing to do with human rights. It has nothing to do with trying to stop nuclear annihilation. It has everything to do with power and the greenbacks. Huh? Don't believe me? Read up on it. Read up on what happened during the last part of the last term of President Obama with pallets of money. Come on, read about it. Learn about it. Educate yourself about it. Read up about the atrocities in Iran. That's your homework assignment. Do you care? You probably don't care. Not as long as your party's in power, right? Of course not. Of course not. And that's the problem with our country at this point in time. We don't have enough people who care about anything beyond politics and power. And I'm not saying that the citizenry doesn't. The left wing of the citizenry are just brainwashed by very good messaging, I will say, by the Democratic left. They have extraordinary messaging because they have all of media on their side. All of media right now saying there is nothing wrong with the election. CNN and MSNBC can go to hell. They don't deserve anything less. America deserves a lot more. And we aren't getting it from them. No, we're just getting a more and more sheep-like, brainwashed society. And it doesn't look like it's going to stop anytime soon because that's only going to be advanced if Biden, Harris get in there, especially Harris. Make no mistake about it. She will be president. Biden's even joked about it. Well, I'll come down with some disease. I posted a great cartoon. It was like a video graphics, had Biden's and Harris's face superimposed on these cartoons. And Biden laying in a hospital bed saying, I came down with some disease. And Kamala Harris is there, like she does in real life. Does that mean I'm going to be president? It's epic. It's epic. It's so true. There is more humor in truth than anything else. And man, oh man, does that hit the nail on the head. Look for it. I'll repost it. I'll repost it during the break and let you see it. It's hysterical. It'll be on both the Legacy page and on my page. I'll try to get it to some others too. Welcome along to everybody viewing on video, by the way, whether it's on YouTube or legacy1160.com or any of the Facebook pages. We've got Right America Media, we've got American Women, my page, and of course, Legacy 1160 page. We want you to like that page and be part of our crew here at Legacy 1160. Mike Violet here in the morning, and I follow suit from 9 to noon with Freedom's Pep Rally. Stick around. There's a lot more to come. We're only getting started here. I'm John James.
AM 1160, WSKW.
The holidays may be here, but many of us still have work to do. And a Coyote tractor from Whittemore & Sons can move that big pile of snow, transport that wood, and take care of all your other heavy-duty winter jobs in no time. Coyote tractors are some of the toughest, most powerful, fuel-efficient, technologically advanced tractors ever built. With all their uses, a Coyote tractor is the gift that keeps on giving all year long. Even Santa has a tractor on his wish list this year. Check out the full line of tough and versatile compact tractors, attachments, implements, and accessories at Whittemore & Sons, your Coyote tractor dealer, with dependable sales and service for over 50 years. If you have questions or want to schedule a pickup, just call us at 207-474-2591. Run ahead of the pack with a Coyote tractor from Whittemore & Sons on the Waterville Road in Skowhegan. Sales and service by a family who cares.
Whittemore & Sons, outdoor power equipment.
Hold up. The year is ending already, and we're way behind. We've got to do something fast or we won't hit our year-end goal. So this month we're slaying prices. Don't wait for the jolly old elf. Now Santa Joey at Colebrook Mitsubishi will give you $4,000 minimum for your old sled. Drive away in a brand new 2020 Mitsubishi Mirage with no money down for $179 a month. Or choose a new 2020 Mitsubishi Eclipse Cross or Mitsubishi Outlander Sport with no money down for $299 a month. Choose our top-of-the-line model, the 2020 Mitsubishi Outlander with room for 7 with no money down for only $320 a month. These are purchases, not leases. That's a brand new vehicle with a 10-year, 100,000-mile limited powertrain warranty with no down payment. Are other dealers roasting your chestnuts over past credit mishaps? Let us help you beat the holiday blues and drive home a new Mitsubishi today. Come visit us at Colebrook Mitsubishi, Route 201 in Skowhegan, or visit us online at colebrookmitsubishi.com.
When you make the right decision, it feels good, like picking the perfect accent rug or choosing a good night's sleep over an all-night crime show binge. It feels really good to make the right insurance decision, too. That's why I'm here to help. I'm State Farm Agent January Peavy, here to help you select the right protection. I make sure that you understand your coverages so you'll know what to expect if the unexpected happens. With me, State Farm Agent January Peavy, it's easy to make the right choice. Just give me a call, 230-8365. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
From the Home Auto Group Studios, Farmington Ford and Franklin Chrysler in Farmington. This is WSKW, Skowhegan, Augusta, Waterville, Legacy 1160.
ABC News, I'm Alex Perche. U.S. health officials have posted their first review of the Pfizer COVID vaccine. As the first people in Britain begin getting COVID vaccines, the White House is holding a summit on how the shots will be distributed here. ABC's Karen Travers.
White House officials say the key purpose of today's COVID-19 vaccine summit is educating Americans on the development and distribution process and to outline how it will get out across the nation once there's emergency use authorization by the FDA. President Trump, Vice President Pence, HHS Secretary Alex Azar, several governors and private sector executives are expected to attend the meetings today.
Not expected to attend anyone from the Biden transition team. They were not invited, even though they'll be the ones distributing most of the shots. There are reports confirmed by ABC News that the White House turned down an offer to negotiate a deal and lock in a price for millions of additional vaccine doses with Pfizer. The decision could delay the delivery of a second batch of doses next summer. This is ABC News. Today marks an important deadline in the presidential election. ABC's Mark Rimillard explains.
The safe harbor deadline is the day by which states must certify their elections and select the winning slate of electors. It's an important day for states because meeting this deadline ensures their electoral votes will be counted by Congress. In 2000, the safe harbor deadline played a role in the outcome of the contested election between George W. Bush and Al Gore, as the Supreme Court issued a ruling on Safe Harbor Day that effectively ended Florida's recount because the court said it could not be completed by the Safe Harbor deadline. Mark Remillard, ABC News.
A police detective in Hartford, Connecticut has been demoted and is facing departmental charges after promoting a betting pool on the location of the city's first murder in 2021. The Trump administration's push to ban downloads of the short video app TikTok blocked for a second time by a federal judge. The president calls the app, which is owned by a Chinese company, a national security threat. Alex Brachet, ABC News.
Liberty Mutual Insurance Company presents. And Doug.
Where's the money, Karen?
I'm sorry, the money?
The money you saved by having Liberty Mutual customize your home insurance, so you only pay for what you need.
Oh, that money. I used it to add to my collection of clown paintings. Take a look.
Amazing. Wow.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Right now, the Home Depot is home of smart home gifts for smart home gift givers, like the Google Nest Video Doorbell, the Google Nest Hub, or Google Nest Mini in both charcoal and chalk. Plus, right now, get free shipping on any smart home gift purchases over $45. The top names in smart home have the best name in home improvement. That's smart gift giving. Improved. The Home Depot. How doers get more done. U.S. only. See store for details.
It's time for the truth, and you found the home of it right here. Here's your truth-telling, freedom-loving, flag-waving host, John James.
Welcome back. I got that posted. If you want to see the Kamala Harris, Joe Biden cartoon video, I don't know who did it. I really didn't research it. I thought it was hysterical. I posted it. It's now at legacy1160.com, rather at Legacy 1160 Facebook page. It's on my personal page. It's also at American Women Who Bear Arms, so you can check it out at any of those sites and enjoy. It's absolutely hilarious and true. And that Kamala Harris laugh, that's all she does is laughs. She thinks that endears her to people. Either that or she's just always uncomfortable because she knows she's lying. I would believe it if they said she laughs when she lies, because she laughs all the time. She's the most disingenuous human being I think I've ever seen running for president, during the president and now vice president. I've never seen anybody more fake or more phony. And you know what? The problem with the left is they can't see phoniness. Phoniness to them is real. It's the real McCoy. They cannot see phoniness in people. And they can't see senility in people either, because so many of them voted for Joe Biden. I don't think 80 million did, but plenty did. It's 10:04, and it's true what they say. You don't know what you've got till it's gone. And I think people are going to come to a stark realization that if Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, or Kamala Harris, Joe Biden, or just Kamala Harris and a vice president to be named later, get into power, I think you're going to see what you lost, and you're going to regret losing it. Saying, well, Orange Man wasn't so bad. When gas goes up to $4 or $5 a gallon, oh yeah, that's another thing. Besides the Paris Climate Accord, besides going back to the WHO and kissing Xi Jinping's butt, because that's what we do. That's what the Dems love to do. Kiss the butts of the Chinese Communist government. That's what they do. So in addition to that, in addition to the Iran nuclear deal, we're gonna lose our oil and gas industry because AOC said so. AOC, did you see she's been named the Employee of the Month by Goya Food? She's such a miserable old biddy. She's not that old either. She's just stupid. She's just an idiot. Again, leftists cannot see phony. They don't see phony. They can't understand a genuine person when they see them because they are so enamored with just make me feel good. And the leftists know this. The leftists are so good at messaging. All we've got to do, this is part of the rules for radicals. You've got to read the book. You need to read the book. Saul Alinsky, Rules for Radicals. It's all in there. It's part of the recipe. You make people feel they're being oppressed. Make them feel good about what you're doing, and the world is your oyster because people are inherently stupid. Leftist followers, that is, are inherently stupid. Any means to justify an end. Doesn't matter how immoral, doesn't matter the collateral damage, doesn't matter if people die in its wake, a.k.a. the coronavirus. Yeah. You don't think they knew about this? You don't think the U.S. government, some parts of the U.S. government, knew about the coronavirus and the deadly nature of it and the fact it went from human to human before anybody else did, and they thought this is going to be a way to get Trump out? You don't think, if you don't think that, then sorry, I've got a bridge in Augusta. It's a big green bridge. I'm going to sell you for $1.50, $1.50. Write me a check, send it care of WSKW, Augusta, Maine. John J. Make it payable to John J.O.N. James, and I'll thank you ahead of time. We'll have a drawing of all the checks that come in. I'll pick one, and that winner will get the bridge. Good luck getting the deed to it, by the way. It's 10:07 right here on Legacy 1160 WSKW. And before we get to the election stuff, there's so much other news I've got to get to. The wimps in this country. Yeah, AOC is a POS, Lisa. Thank you for that. She is a big POS. And thank you for the compliments on my Kamala laugh. I've worked on that. I work on that at home. I record myself at home and listen back. And I've tried to mimic it perfectly. It may be a little too high-pitched for Kamala and a little too genuine. Her laugh is not genuine. It's a fake laugh. I've got to sound more. That better? That's more fake, and that's all she is. She's nothing but a big fake. She's a phony. She is not capable of running. She's not capable of running a freaking dishwasher. And she's going to run the country into the ground, into tyranny. She's just going to be another puppet of the left. So, one of the biggest problems we've got in this country right now is all the wussies. I'm using terms now that are I don't have to because our transmitter's out. I could be brash, and I could actually use language I wouldn't use on the radio, but I'm not going to do that. I am going to say that America is a bunch of wussies rather than a word that rhymes with wussies. And you know who they are. They're most of the people on the radical left. They are wussified. And I am not going to say the word I would like to say, even though I can, because the FCC can't do anything about it. Because we're not on the air right now. Amal Santa. Did you hear about this? Listen to this. Ho, 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 Santa Claus. Amal Santa entertained a little boy who came up socially distanced, says Santa had a mask on, the little boy had a mask on, the little boy was sitting on one side of the table, Santa Claus was on the other side. Well, little boy, what would you like for Christmas? Now, this was all caught on video, by the way. And the little boy wanted what he wanted. What he wanted was he wants one of those Nerf guns. I've got like probably a dozen of them in toy boxes. My grandson has one. My kids had them. Both my kids had them. You know, little Nerf. Got different kinds. Got the kind that shoot like boom, 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 boom. And I don't know. They're just all different types. So this kid wants a Nerf gun. Santa Claus said, nope. What? No. Santa Claus is a wussy. Santa Claus is political. Santa Claus is a leftist. Did you know that? Santa Claus said, no. Not even a Nerf gun. If your dad wants to get it for you, notice the mother was there. The mother was there, but this Santa Claus assumes that all women are radical leftists. So this kid is there with his mother. And Santa Claus says, well, if your dad wants to get it for you, that's fine, but I can't bring it to you. What else would you like? Legos, bicycles, cars, and trucks? Kid wanted a Nerf gun. So the kid turns to his mom. Santa says, no. Kid turns to his mom, and he bursts into tears. She bent down to hug and comfort him, and he was still crying. And she told him, you'll still get it. Santa Claus. How dare he? I'm not sure where this was. It wasn't clear. Nobody seemed to know where this was, but they were masked and socially distanced. So it was sometime in the last several weeks. Politically correct Santa. No toy gun for you. Not even a Nerf gun. That's what you like to see. Like to see a kid go visit Santa and turn around and burst into tears. Is that how they are trained? West Solon. I think that's, is that you, Mikkel? I just saw. I can actually read the screen this morning. Maybe it's because I cleaned my glasses. Quite a distance, but I can see it pretty good. Maybe my eyesight is getting better. So aren't Santas trained to say, well, Santa Claus will see what he can do? And that's what you do unless you're a moron, unless you are a radical leftist. And why would a radical leftist be doing a Santa Claus anyway? Are there not some criteria to being a Santa Claus? Can you arbitrarily tell a kid, no, not gonna do that? Well, way to make the kid hate Santa Claus. Way to make a young boy hate Santa Claus. Just tell him arbitrarily no because you don't agree with toy guns because they look too much like real guns and real guns are evil. I just shake my head. I'm just amazed. Oh, speaking of radical, there's another video I want you to check out. I posted this on my Facebook page this morning. Not safe for work. And I can't remember where this was. A teacher was out. I guess there were some protesters. They were yelling something like, freedom, save our freedom, or something. It was something fairly benign. It was just, God bless America, basically. Might as well have been saying God bless America. Well, they didn't have masks on. And this public school, I assume public school teacher, a young school teacher, goes by. This is a teacher kids look up to. She's gone viral now. And she is she cannot get out the window far enough to pump her middle finger up and down in the air, yelling, F you, F all of you, F you all. And she's blocking traffic. You hear horns going off. And this is a school teacher. See the video. It's on my page. John, Jon James. And I will gladly be your friend if there's room. If you want to friend me, you don't have to. I don't care. If you want to friend me, you can. Anybody can see my page, so it doesn't matter really. But I was at my limit before. I'm sure I'll probably be below my limit after this show, because I'm apt to come a little unglued at some of this stuff, especially once we get to the election crap. And did you hear ABC News say, well, today's the deadline? That's what they're all saying. Today's the deadline. December 8th is the deadline. Well, that's what everybody's posting on Facebook. Because why? Because that's what mainstream media is telling them. So why wouldn't they be echoing the people they follow? They follow blindly. Put blinders on me and lead me wherever you want me to go. Chris Cuomo and Rachel Maddow and Joe Scarborough and I just love saying their names because they are all mooks. MOOKS. Look it up. It fits every one of them. Speaking of mooks, that is a stupid person, by the way. A mook is a stupid person. It just sounds better than calling him stupid. Here is a mook, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, another one who people in New York are willing to blindly follow. And I see some people on my Facebook, in my Facebook friends, AOC, she's great. She's great. She's great? Really? How did she rise to greatness in just 2 years? 2 years. By saying she's going to shut down America, basically shut down America. She shut down New York from Amazon, who is going to they're hiring 1,400 people a week. She shut them down. She wants to shut down fossil fuels. Oh, she's great. She's great. You're a mook, and so is she. I love this, though. She called for the cancellation of Goya Foods. Why? Why did she call for Goya Foods? Of all companies, they are a legal immigrant family. Oh, no, that's right. She likes illegal immigrants. She likes illegals. She doesn't like legal people. She prefers illegal people because eventually under a Biden administration, we'll get them the right to vote. We'll make Puerto Rico and we'll make Washington, D.C. states. We'll get all the illegal immigrants in here by stopping the wall and we'll keep the borders open and it'll be great. We'll never lose another election again. That's why they love her, because they are, by proxy, also stupid. So AOC has so much disdain for Goya Foods. There's got to be a good reason, right? Here's the reason. Here's the reason she started with a hashtag boycott Goya and tried to cancel Goya Foods, the immigrant-owned American company. Because the CEO, his name is Bob Unanua, Bob Unanua. Because Bob Unanua, the CEO of Goya Foods, said something nice about Donald Trump. No, he didn't do anything wrong. He didn't do anything illegal. He wasn't rude. He wasn't disrespectful to anybody. He said something nice about Donald Trump. But in the world of the unhinged AOCs and Ilhan Omars, and you know who they are, you cannot do that. That's illegal. That may be free speech to you, but to them, it's hate speech if you say something about Donald Trump. So AOC, we got to cancel Goya Foods. They boycott Goya Foods. This immigrant-owned company, screw them. They're here legally, for one thing. We don't like that. And number two, they said something nice about Donald Trump. They can't be allowed to exist. So that's her. She and many other mindless mooks went on the campaign to cancel Goya Foods. And guess what? Goya Foods started turning up in places it has never been before. You find it all over the place in this area. I never really noticed it before, but I notice it now here in central Maine, a long ways from Mexico, right? I see it everywhere. And they're going crazy because there are still smart people in America. There really are free thinkers, people who aren't compelled to do what they are told to by the radical left. And they said, screw you, AOC. And, well, the stocks went through the roof. Goya Foods, in return, took the high road. I found this tweet yesterday from Michael Berry, and I reshared it. How did Goya Foods, and here's the, has got a picture of Goya Foods, looks like headquarters. And the caption reads, how did Goya Food CEO Bob Unanua respond to AOC's threatened boycott of his delicious foods? Well, he named her Employee of the Month for helping increase sales and making the company soar to new levels. And Michael Berry continues, interesting man and unafraid to speak of faith, family, and patriotism. Three things the left does not really like. They don't like faith. They hate faith. God, oh, you fairy tale. You believe in fairy tales. I will never forget Meet the Press with Chuck Todd playing right into it. Fairy tales, a Bible fairy tale. So they don't like faith. They don't like patriotism because liking Donald Trump and loving America first is patriotic. They hate that. They want to be in bed with China and the Iran communist governments, the Iran mullahs and the China communist government. They want to be in bed with them. They want to be one world government. They hate patriotism. And they hate family. They do not like the nuclear family. There are people that understand that these are most disingenuous people in the world. At least in Iran, they don't try to hide their disdain for the people. They just hate them and they kill them. You piss me off, I'll kill you. That's how their government operates. That's how the Chinese government operates. You're a Muslim, you're a Christian, we're going to put you in a concentration camp. Re-educate you or maybe kill you. I don't know what they do. Who knows what they do there? You see the Uyghur Muslims being led into prison camps. There's video of it. Yet Joe Biden, Hunter Biden, they love China. China means big bucks for the Bidens. Donald Trump put his thumb down on him. China doesn't like that. Neither does the NBA. Neither does Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, Hunter Biden. They don't like that. It's only Joe Biden who can get in bed with the communists and be free of any criticism. It's only Joe Biden who can commit quid pro quo with the Ukraine and receive no backlash from it, even when he brags about it publicly. Did I tell you Facebook took down the video of the, I think I did last week. Facebook took down, they put fake news on it. False news. Who are they? Who are they to shut down free speech? I don't care if it is false news. I don't care. It's free speech. Free speech does not have to be what you think it is. Only what you say is acceptable, Facebook. It was these ballots in Georgia and Fulton County in the suitcases, and they took it. They took the video down because apparently you're not allowed to have an opinion if it's not a leftist opinion. By the way, the count for censored tweets, I believe Donald Trump has been censored almost 400 times. Biden still 0. We're in big trouble here. Nobody sees it like you and I. And, you know, at least 73 million other Americans, freedom lovers. And this is all being done by people like George Soros. Now, this is from the website No Q Report. I'd never heard of it before. In a plot twist that's so unbelievable, we had to check multiple sources to confirm. Neo-Marxist George Soros just named Lord Mark Malloch Brown as president of Open Society Foundation. Who is this Lord Mark Malloch Brown, who George Soros has just exalted to president of Open Society Foundation? That's the Marxist organization that George Soros aligns with. Brown is the former CEO of Smartmatic. That's a company tied into voter fraud with Dominion Voting Systems. So why did Soros do this? Is it a way to reward him for a great job hijacking an American election? Is it Soros flipping the proverbial bird to America? I dare say it's probably yes in both counts. So Soros, a Hungarian-born billionaire, hates America and is working feverishly, spending his wealth to change it into something akin to pre-1948 Hungary. Not a good place to be. So what does he care? Well, like Michael Bloomberg, he can create a beast and then fly to some private island somewhere and watch from afar as hell unfolds on all of us. Sick. It's a mental disorder that is undiagnosed because most of the people who are qualified to diagnose it suffer from the same affliction. George Soros is a dangerous man. He's old, too. I don't wish death on anybody. But I'll tell you what, when his time comes, I'm certainly not going to be shedding any tears. Are you? Trying to keep up with all the posts here. It's NBA and NFL. You know what? The Patriots had I heard an incredible victory the other day. Over the Chargers, right? Was it 45-0 or something? You know, I could care less. I go into a place that has TVs on. If it's on the NBA, I went into a restaurant a couple of months ago and the NBA was on. And every time they went, down court, you saw the big Black Lives Matter slogan on the side of the court. NFL, they're all just virtue signaling. I could care less. I know sports is a real release for a lot of people. I get that. And nobody used to love to watch the Patriots. Nobody used to love to watch the Red Sox, especially. I love baseball more than me. Now they've got this Black Lives Matter out on the left field, outside of the left field wall. I mean, way to make people feel unwelcome. I mean, aren't we all just, I never have seen it as anything except we're all one people. I don't care what color you are. You don't have to tell me that Black Lives Matter. You don't have to remind me. I know that Black Lives Matter. I know that white lives matter and yellow lives matter and red lives matter. I know that all our lives matter. And to tell me that I am missing the point if I say all lives matter, I will fire back at you. Just shut up. I realize that. I realize that all lives matter. And I realize what you think of me for saying that all lives matter and not just Black Lives Matter. Way to drive a wedge between races. So I'm done with sports. I could care less if I ever watch another professional sports team again. They will have to do some repenting for me to watch. Not that it's any money out of their pocket. That's just me. Now, what say you? You aren't going to go on and say, boycott the Patriots, boycott the Red Sox, boycott the NFL, boycott the NBA, because we don't do that. We just stop watching. We stop showing up for games. That's how we roll. That's how we make our point heard. 10:31 right now, Legacy 1160 WSKW, and you can pretty much say goodbye to free speech under a Biden administration. Well, what do you mean by that? Well, look around you. Look at what's going on right now. WND did an article. A prominent liberal lawyer who's been involved in some of America's highest profile constitutional disputes is warning of an alarming rollback of free speech in all Western nations, including the United States. You probably know this guy. His name is Jonathan Turley. And he's a Democrat. He's a liberal. But he is... I have a lot of admiration for this guy. Because unlike most on the left, he speaks from intellect and common sense, feelings aside. And he is a liberal. He is a classic Democrat, a classic liberal. He testified during the Ukrainian hearing, the impeachment hearing. Do you remember? He threw water on Adam Schiff's assertions. He threw water on him. Adam Schiff thought, well, we got Jonathan Turley. He's a liberal. He'll play right. Nah. Not everybody's a Schiff head, Adam, like you. You've got Schiff for brains. The latest, listen to this. This is going on in other places and in this country. The latest is the adoption by Norway of a criminal law that punishes people for hate speech towards this is mind-boggling. And by the way, this is what is headed our way. Believe it or not, we're seeing free speech erode in this country with incredible speed. Incredible speed. Everything, it seems now, is hate speech. But listen to where Norway is going. This is your proverbial writing on the wall. And the left will say, well, it'll never happen here. Right. And on September 10th, 2001, you would have said, God, there's no way people from another country are going to take down two of the biggest skyscrapers in our country and try to go after the White House and hit the Pentagon. There's no way that could ever happen. You would have said that on September 10th, wouldn't you? And then September 11th happened. So the latest in Norway, there's a criminal law that punishes people for hate speech towards transgender people. Wait for it. In private conversations. This is from Jonathan Turley. He is a professor of law at George Washington University in Washington, D.C. That's right. You can be arrested for hate speech in a private conversation with your family, your friends. Coming soon to a town near you. Oh, that could never happen here. All right, Felicia. Okay. Such speech, this is Turley speaking now. Such speech controls in Europe have led to a chilling effect on political and religious speech, Turley wrote. In their homes, people will often share religious and political views that depart from majoritarian values and beliefs. This law would regulate those conversations and criminalize the expression of prohibited viewpoints. Turley went on and said, the most chilling fact for Americans is that European-style speech controls have become a core value in the Democratic Party. Once a party that fought for free speech, it has become the party demanding internet censorship and hate speech laws, said Turley. He went on, President-elect Joe Biden has called for speech controls and recently appointed a transition head for agency media issues that is one of the most pronounced anti-free speech figures in the United States. It is a trend that seems now to be finding support in the media, which celebrated the speech of French President Emmanuel Macron before Congress, where he called the United States to follow the model of Europe on hate speech. Jonathan Turley warned, the very right that has long defined us as a nation hangs in the balance. Are you scared yet? Are you starting to see maybe a civil war as the only way out? I shudder to think. I hate to even entertain that. Never, ever have I had to deal with these thoughts in my life. But now the Constitution is coming under assault. Specifically, the whole Constitution, but most specifically, the First and Second Amendments. The Second Amendment, by the way, protects all the others. Remember that when they try to take your free speech. When they try to tell you that the conversation you had in your house is a violation of the law and you are under arrest. That could never happen here. Yeah. Harry Miller, a former police officer who founded Fair Cop, warned that if the private home law is adopted, a comment over the dinner table about a huge range of people could lead to a prison sentence. Sarah Phillimore, a family law attorney, said, quote, I cannot believe the government is being asked to consider surveillance of citizens in their own home. How will the evidence of such hate crimes be collected? Will we have an East German secret police like the Stasi? The Law Commission report said that stirring up division over race, religion, or sexual orientation in homes should be criminalized. Let me read that again. Law Commission report. Stirring up division over race, religion, or sexual orientation in homes should be criminalized. One more quote from Turley here. Once we cross the Rubicon into free speech criminalization and controls, Europe has shown that it is rarely possible to work back to liberties lost. We are moving into potentially the most anti-free speech period of American history and possibly the most anti-free speech administration. This coming from a liberal. These are the liberals I remember growing up and as a young adult. These are the kinds of voices that were in the Democratic Party. We disagreed and we thought they were liberal views then. But isn't it interesting now that uber liberalism is out there, that progressive liberals, activists, communists, socialists with radical, unhinged views are out there now. What we used to think of as liberals are more like us than we ever would have cared to admit back in the day. Jonathan Turley is a voice of reason. If you don't know who he is, look him up. Look up the impeachment hearings under Adam Schiff's gavel. Not unhinged. A very smart guy. If we had more professors like liberal Jonathan Turley in our colleges, we'd be a much less angry, a much more accepting society. We would. We would. Activists are ruining the country. Activists / communists, really not huge difference between the two, if any. It's 10:42. We haven't taken a break this hour, have we? Now we'll get to it. We'll save it. I'm on a roll here. We haven't even got to the election stuff yet. I thought you needed to hear that, though. I thought you needed to hear all of that. I mean, nobody is really paying attention at this point. Mainstream media is lost. They're a lost cause. All they're talking about ad nauseum now is the vaccine. And Joe Biden, they can't fawn enough over Joe Biden. Oh, my God. Finally, we've got some sense coming into the White House. Kamala Harris. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Brighter day is coming, huh? So that's all they're talking about. This free speech thing Jonathan Turley's been talking about, while all of the periphery is dealing with COVID-19, election fraud, everything else, transition. This is not a red herring, my friend. This is a very serious issue. Something I wish had been brought to light before the election. But would anybody have listened? Probably nobody would have heard it. Because anybody who watches mainstream media, and I don't mean just the cable networks, I mean Lester Holt, I mean David Muir, they're all part of the DNC machine. They're all propaganda. Every one of them. They're all of the same mindset. In fact, I bet if you tried to get a job as a conservative at any network other than maybe Fox News or Newsmax or OAN, you would probably get shoved out the door, because probably one of the questions is, where are you politically? Well, I'm a conservative. I'm a moderate. Nah, we don't have any need for you at this time. Apply again in 10 years. Now you look at the newsroom at the New York Times. I mean, they get one guy writes a column, and I can't remember who the representative was or senator that wrote the column for the New York Times. It was a little too conservative, and the whole newsroom was somebody ended up quitting over it. The whole newsroom was in turmoil because this conservative piece was published by a sitting Republican senator. Free speech is under attack here, and with it, all the rest of the Constitution. We're turning into a tyrannical government, and this is not going to end well. Rudy Giuliani has COVID-19, and of course, media types are making fun of it. There were some tweets. That's nice. ABC News reported it confirmed Giuliani had been admitted to Georgetown University Medical Center in Washington, D.C. The story broke in the New York Times. Mary Haberman was the first to report the news. Speaking of the New York Times. And here's another classic Trump move, by the way. Donald Trump is going to sign an executive order today ensuring that Americans have access to vaccinations before foreign nations. Americans, hey, we can, now I'm not saying I'm going to take a vaccine, but who should be offered it first? America? Well, if Joe Biden was in office, we'd send it all to China. Well, you know, we're going to lock down for another 12 months while we get our friends in China the vaccine because, hey, is where it started. Hey. That's Kamala reacting to Joe Biden. She's his little peanut gallery right now until she becomes the leader of the free world, God forbid. So, no, America's going to be served first because America stepped up, because American exceptionalism, because we aren't a one-size-fits-all country, because everybody isn't living under the same rules. Everybody is an individual, can do what they want, can strive to be better than anybody else, can try to get to the peak of the mountain first. And they did. Moderna and Pfizer. So America is going to be served first. Trump said the priority is to make sure we distribute these vaccines to Americans before we start shipping them around the globe to get international access. As for when other countries could see the vaccine, assistance will likely arrive in late spring, early summer, after vaccinating those who have a desire to be vaccinated. Wow. Sounds like not only is that America first, but that's individualism. That's freedom to say yes or no to what they put into your body. My body, my choice. Right? Right? Hello, Felicia. Right? Karen, hello. My body, my choice. I'm not carrying another living human being inside my body I need to worry about. My body. Nothing in there except a good ration of food. So I'll choose what to put in it or what not to put in it. Thank you very much. And my wife. My wife weighs very heavily in most of my decisions because she is the smarter James. You're never going to hear me say anything contrary to that, on the air or off the air. She is the smarter of the two Jameses in our household. And we have two very intelligent children and some very intelligent grandchildren. But I will submit to my wife in the intelligence department and most other departments too, by the way. It's 10:49. Okay, we have to take a real quick break. We'll be back. I'm John James. This is Freedom's Pep Rally.
Legacy 1160, WSKW.
If you've checked that gift list twice and got something different for everyone on it, just head to Town Line Antique Center on the Winslow-Vassalboro Town Line. With 2 floors and over 50 dealers, you can find the perfect gift for each one of them. Are you worried about spending too much? Town Line Antiques is here to help with that too. Because all December long, every booth at Town Line Antiques is offering discounts of 10, 20, 30, 40, some even 50% off their selection. There's always new, cool, and unique gift ideas, including collectibles, furniture, artwork, signs, books, and so much more. Of course, the problem is, you'll not only find lots of great gift ideas, you'll come across things you may want to take home too. But with their December sale of up to 50% off, store-wide, you can take them all home for less. So don't miss out on this Santa-sized sale with savings up to 50% off this December at Town Line Antiques. Open Tuesday through Sunday from 10 to 5, Route 201, right on the Winslow-Vassalboro Town Line.
Take it to Moody's. Take it to Moody's Collision Center.
If your car is a wreck and you don't know where to go,
take it to Moody's.
You wanna get on with your life, get on with the show,
take it to Moody's.
Good people you can trust, and it won't be a fuss.
Take it to Moody's Collision Centers.
M-O-O-D-Y. Your kid was talking on the cell phone, drove right through your own home, sitting in the parking lot. Maybe you get hit a lot, driving through the green.
Hey, video people. Well, everybody's a video person today. I don't think the transmitter's back on. I don't know. Ice on the tower. Thank you for being here. Please, please, please share if you can. Share to your page. Share. I've heard people saying they share us, and we're not getting the traffic because shadow ban. They don't like our speech. But keep sharing. I appreciate it. Thank you. We're back.
Another chilly day with highs in the lower 30s, turning a bit brighter and a bit warmer for Thursday with highs near 40 degrees.
Your pep rally for freedom is back, powered by the Gun Shop in Augusta on Coney Circle. Now, here's John James.
Well, hello there. Welcome back to your pep rally for freedom. I am John James. And Gavin Newsom, the deplorable governor of California, who is not totally unlike some other governors I can think of. Not totally unlike. He's gone a little beyond the pale when it comes to edicts on citizens, banning even outdoor dining. But we have a somewhat tyrannical government in our Blaine House. That's the governor's mansion here in Maine. Her name is Janet T. T stands for Tyrant Mills. I don't know what it really stands for. That's what Mike says. So Mike is my protege. Or am I his protege? I don't know. How does that work? Oh, okay. He's busy. Gretchen Whitmer in Michigan, Andrew Cuomo in New York. I mean, there's plenty to go around. Well, Gavin Newsom is the California governor, absolute loser who cares only about himself and his highfalutin, holier-than-thou friends. He is too cool for the room, any room, for somebody like you and me. Riverside Sheriff Chad Bianco. I love this guy. Chad Bianco, I want you to hear how some people in some states aren't afraid to call out wrong. We need more people who are unafraid. We need more Republicans in Washington who aren't afraid, who aren't wussies. And again, I use the cleaner of the words I would like to use. But I am, at the very least, I try to meet community standards. It's hard sometimes. It's very hard sometimes, but I do my best. Let this guy, if there are any police listening who disagree with all the different edicts they're being forced to enforce, like shutting down Rick Savage at Sunday River for trying to run a freaking restaurant business. Restaurants and bars have been so hurt by this. Bars still aren't open. Governor Mills said no. She said we're going to open on, November 1st? November 1st, I think, or 2nd or something like that. And then 2 days before, she said, we're going to push it back. Now she has just said that we aren't going to go past 9 o'clock in any businesses until January. She keeps pushing it ahead. She keeps moving the goalpost. There is no goalpost. It's it's not cemented into the ground. It's just plopped into a tube and pulled up and moved every 30 days when she feels like she needs to, when she feels she might be giving up some power. How about some law enforcement who has to go out and enforce, some state police? How about some sheriffs? How about some municipal police who have to enforce the law, who have to go out and handcuff people like Rick Savage who are trying to earn a living by running a restaurant? How about they say, no, this is how I feel, and post a video to social media and call out the absurdity of the laws you're being asked to enforce? They're victimless crimes. If there is no victim, there is no crime. If somebody sees you without a mask or there's no plexiglass and they don't want to go in your restaurant, they can leave. Boom. That was easy. Riverside Sheriff Chad Bianco posted a video where he, as just a regular schmuck trying to earn a living like you and me, he called out Governor Hairdo. I love that. Governor well-coiffed Gavin Newsom. He looks every bit the Hollywood leading man. He's a young Robert Redford. He always is well-coiffed and ready to appear in Gentleman's Quarterly. Because that's how he rolls. Look up to me. I'm smarter than you. I'm Gavin Newsom, and you listen to what I say, or you will be thrown in prison. So this sheriff was having none of it. Listen to him as he properly takes Newsom apart.
Hello, I'm Riverside County Sheriff Chad Bianco. We have all recently learned of the new regional approach to combating COVID-19 and the pending closure and stay-at-home orders from our governor. We were also told there was a potential he would be withholding federal and state funding from counties who did not enforce the orders. Ironically, it wasn't that long ago our same governor loudly and publicly argued how wrong it was for the President of the United States to withhold federal funding from states not complying with federal laws. The dictatorial attitude toward California residents while dining in luxury, traveling, keeping his business open, and sending his kids to in-person private schools is very telling about his attitude toward California residents, his feelings about the virus, and it is extremely hypocritical. These closures and stay-at-home orders are flat out ridiculous. The metrics used for closures are unbelievably faulty and are not representative of true numbers and are disastrous for Riverside County. When the medical field is so split about this virus, it might be time to employ a little common sense. Keeping money and support from our hospitals who are struggling with normal, seasonal increases in patients coupled with COVID-19 patients is irresponsible. It appears part of the new goal is to shift attention away from his and others' personal behavior with a do as I say, not as I do attitude by turning public opinion against California sheriffs. He is expecting us to arrest anyone violating these orders, cite them and take their money, close their businesses, make them stay in their homes, and take away their civil liberties, or he will punish all of us. I believe that all jobs are essential to someone. Leaders do not threaten, attempt to intimidate, or cause fear. Bullies do. As has been our position from the beginning of this pandemic, the Sheriff's Department is asking and expecting Riverside County residents to act responsibly and do what they can to protect themselves and their family from contracting the virus. Wear your mask and practice social distancing.
Right.
While the governor's office and the state has threatened action against violators, the Riverside County Sheriff's Department will not be blackmailed, bullied, or used as muscle against Riverside County residents in the enforcement of the governor's orders. I wish you all a very Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and a safe and Happy New Year.
Absolutely. Thank you. He said Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays. That's fine. That's great. Merry Christmas to you. Happy Hanukkah to you. So there you go. There's a sheriff who's not afraid to speak out. California, Riverside County Sheriff. Good man. We get a lot more to come. Boy, oh boy, do we have a lot to get into. The election. We're going to be talking all election next hour. And there's plenty of stuff to talk about. Don't go anywhere. Share the video if you can. Thank you to everybody on every platform listening. We will be back. That is a promise, not a threat. I'm John James.
From the Home Auto Group Studios, Farmington Ford and Franklin Chrysler in Farmington. This is WSKW, Skowhegan, Augusta, Waterville, Legacy 1160.
Hi, Seth Batty with Rockland Ford here. I'm pleased to announce that this year we're going to make Christmas special with our first ever Christmas is for Kids program. I know how special a program like this could be because when I was young, it saved many Christmases for my family, and I am honored to finally give back. What we are going to do is touch the lives of 50 children and many families in the surrounding area by putting presents under the tree for kids that otherwise would not have a Christmas. These kids have been struggling with medical issues within their family, and we are stepping up to help those who have helped us in the past. This month, when you buy a car at Rockland Ford, $100 will go towards this program to help purchase presents and food for these families. If you would like to help, call us at Rockland Ford to make your donation or come drop off presents in our drop box at Rockland Ford off Route 1 in Thomaston to help make this holiday season special.
Electrical repair should never be done without the knowledge of how to do it safely. Better yet, skip that stress and let Kennebec Electric and Lighting take care of it for you. Kennebec Electric has offered professional electric and lighting service and expert installation in homes and businesses for over 37 years, and they stand behind that experience with a guarantee on all their work. Kennebec Electric and Lighting. Contact them for all your electric and lighting servicing, including installations and repairs at 861-7028 or online at KennebeCelectric.com.
The holidays may be here, but many of us still have work to do. And a Coyote tractor from Whittemore & Sons can move that big pile of snow, transport that wood, and take care of all your other heavy-duty winter jobs in no time. Coyote tractors are some of the toughest, most powerful, fuel-efficient, technologically advanced tractors ever built. With all their uses, a Coyote tractor is the gift that keeps on giving all year long. Even Santa has a tractor on his wish list this year. Check out the full line of tough and versatile compact tractors, attachments, implements, and accessories at Whittemore & Sons, your Coyote tractor dealer, with dependable sales and service for over 50 years. If you have questions or want to schedule a pickup, just call us at 207-474-2591. Run ahead of the pack with a Coyote tractor from Whittemore & Sons on the Waterville Road in Skowhegan. Sales and service by a family who cares.
Whittemore & Sons, outdoor power equipment.
Hi, I'm Teresa Smith, Director of Advising at Kennebec Valley Community College. For the past 25 years, it has been my privilege to help people just like you reach your educational goals. Whether you're a high school student just getting started, a parent who's always had to put your family first, or a worker looking for new skills, KVCC has something for you. And trust me, it's never too late to get started. Give me a call at 453-KVCC, and together, let's see what we can do.
If you've checked that gift list twice and it's got something different for everyone on it, just head to Town Line Antique Center on the Winslow-Vassalboro Town Line. With 2 floors and over 50 dealers, you can find the perfect gift for each one of them. Wait, are you worried about spending too much? Town Line Antiques is here to help with that too, because all December long, every booth at Town Line Antiques is offering discounts of 10, 20, 30, 40, some are even 50% off their entire selection. And there's always new, cool, and unique gift ideas, including collectibles, furniture, artwork, signs, books, and so much more. Of course, the problem is, I not only find lots of great gift ideas, I always come across things I want too. But with their December sale of up to 50% off store-wide, we can take them all home for less. So don't miss out on this Santa-sized sale with savings of up to 50% off this December at Town Line Antique Center, open Tuesday through Sunday from 10 to 5, Route 201, right on the Winslow-Vassalboro Town Line.
When you make the right decision, it feels good, like picking the perfect accent rug or choosing a good night's sleep over an all-night crime show binge. It feels really good to make the right insurance decision, too. That's why I'm here to help. I'm State Farm Agent January Peavy, here to help you select the right protection. I make sure that you understand your coverages so you'll know what to expect if the unexpected happens. With me, State Farm Agent January Peavy, it's easy to make the right choice. Just give me a call, 230-8365. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Hi, it's Doug and Dan from Generators of Maine in Belgrade.
Are you working from home? Will your children be home doing schoolwork? And you know how important it is to have access to the reliable power source.
That's why you need a Kohler generator from Generators of Maine. Kohler generators deliver reliable power whenever yours goes out. and we're always happy to offer delivery and installation.
Get prepared today for those upcoming power outages with a Kohler generator from Generators of Maine. Stop by our location in Belgrade, visit online at generatorsofmaine.com, and like us on Facebook.
Hi, I'm Teresa Smith, Director of Advising at Kennebec Valley Community College. For the past 25 years, it has been my privilege to help people just like you reach your educational goals. Whether you're a high school student just getting started, a parent who's always had to put your family first, or a worker looking for new skills, KVCC has something for you. And trust me, it's never too late to get started. Give me a call at 453-KVCC, and together, let's see what we can do.
1160 WSKW.
ABC News, I'm Jim Ryan. The White House is denying a report from the New York Times that has been confirmed by ABC News that the Trump administration passed when Pfizer offered to sell more vaccine doses back in the late summer.
It just simply was not true. This president contracted for doses of this vaccine from many different companies, 100 million doses, and those involved in the negotiation say it's just simply not true.
Kayleigh McEnany speaks for the president. Pfizer says it's already committed additional doses to other countries at this point. The president is set to sign an executive order that claims to put Americans before other countries in getting the vaccine. But the chief science officer for Operation Warp Speed, Dr. Monsef Slaoui, was asked about that on Good Morning America today. He says,
frankly, I don't know. And frankly, I'm staying out of this, so I can't comment. I literally don't know.
The White House is holding a vaccine summit today. Pfizer and Moderna will not be there. The Biden transition team also has not been invited. This is ABC News. President-elect Joe Biden is expected this week to announce his pick for Secretary of Defense, retired Army General Lloyd Austin. If confirmed, he would be the first African-American to serve in that post. Due out in a few hours, the results of an investigation launched after the murder of a soldier at Fort Hood in Texas. ABC's Louis Martinez has the story.
The findings by an independent panel tasked with determining what's wrong at Fort Hood could lead the Army to make significant changes. The base has the highest number of violent crimes and sexual assault and sexual harassment cases in the Army. The board reviewed the command climate and culture at Fort Hood, especially the office that investigates claims of sexual harassment. The review was triggered by the murder of Army Specialist Vanessa Guillen and her family's claim that she was too intimidated to step forward with allegations of sexual harassment. Louis Martinez, ABC News, Washington.
California is launching a new smartphone app that will alert residents if they come near someone with COVID-19. People can start opting in to use it on Thursday. Jim Ryan, ABC News.
Introducing Canada Dry Bold Ginger. It's not your grandma's ginger ale. I know because I'm not your grandma. I don't pressure you to get married. I say play the field all you want. And I drink new Canada Dry Bold Ginger with an extra kick of real ginger taste that would blow the bingo cards out your grandma's bag. I drink it while watching backyard wrestling. There's more on the line when the wrestlers don't have insurance. New Canada Dry Bold Ginger, not your grandma's ginger ale.
It's not every day you have to replace a water heater, more like every 10 years. The Home Depot can help with a wide selection of the latest models from Rheem and a helpful online water heater buying guide to help make choosing the right Rheem easy. From gas to electric, tankless, even smart models that can spot a leak before it happens. Water heaters have come a long way. You don't have to. Go to HomeDepot.com to find the latest Rheem water heaters and helpful answers and advice from our water heater buying guide. Only from the Home Depot. How doers get more done.
Time for a little fun, a few laughs, and a whole lot of truth.
Joe Biden and Kamala Harris only represents terrorists and arsonists and people who murder retired cops in St. Louis. I know that the Democrats have turned into the Marxist Party. I know they hate America. They hate the Constitution. And if the Democrats get in charge, we will be a suburb of Venezuela. And I hope everybody out there knows that we, the people, have an absolute moral obligation to vote God, family, country, freedom, Constitution. And if you don't vote those basic principles, the communists and the Marxists would like to thank you.
The John James Show is on Legacy 1160 WSKW.
I'm just looking now at some of the comments here. All right. Somebody was just flagged. Somebody just violating community standards for trying to type 1160.com without the spaces in the comments. Really? Really? Huh. That's interesting. I wonder if they police this thing looking for any conservative outlets to flag. I don't know why. I'm not going to question it too much, but I am amazed at the number of my friends who have sent me messages from Facebook jail saying that they were put in Facebook jail for speaking freely, for exercising their First Amendment rights, and it's much less than I do every single day. And I've never been in Facebook jail, he said, knocking on whatever metal. I'm thankful for that. And I imagine it's probably just a matter of time before I'll get flagged and jailed for something. We have ways around that, though. I have these people. I got this one guy. I just saw his name popped up. He just put a comment somewhere on one of my posts. Because I always say Joe Biden is still not president-elect. And this guy says, oh, I'm not a Democrat. But he is too. He's the president-elect. There is no fraud. There's no proof of fraud. Even Donald Trump's election team is saying there is no fraud. No, that's not true. It is true that Joe Biden is not the president-elect. It is not true that Trump's team is not saying anything about election fraud, that there are signs of election fraud. They say it every day. This is what their case is. It's all about election fraud. And we're going to get into that big time right now. Kellyanne Conway, by the way, disappointed me. She seems to accept the loss, or maybe she's just losing faith, as a lot of us are. Still got plenty of hope, though. As my faith goes down, my hope goes up. Kellyanne Conway said that although President Donald Trump had the right to exhaust every legal option he has, that it appears former Vice President Joe Biden had won the election. Conway made the comments in an interview with 19th News. I don't know who they are, but she made the comments on Friday.
Well, the president wants to exhaust all of his legal avenues, as he has made clear many times, and his team is doing that. I see in the paper they're doing that. They're going to different states and trying to do that. And of course, that is his right. At the same time, it's President Trump who freed up the GSA money and authorized them to go ahead and start the transition process for the Biden-Harris team, because we want the engines of government to keep going. And you always need a peaceful transfer of democracy, no matter whose administration goes into whose administration. There's no question. If you look at the vote totals in the Electoral College tally, it looks like Joe Biden and Kamala Harris will prevail.
Now, she clearly knows Donald Trump better than I do when it comes to the GSA money and freeing it up for the transition. But I'd be willing to bet that Donald Trump, and I would do the same thing, I think it's brilliant. Just like I thought Susan Collins saying she wasn't going to vote for Amy Coney Barrett was brilliant. I thought that was brilliant. And that won her the election. That absolutely took the wind out of Sarah Gideon's sails. When she said she wasn't voting for Amy Coney Barrett, that made Democrats say, well, okay, she's got my vote. And that's why she won the election. Whereas if she had voted for Amy Coney Barrett, she may have lost. She may well have lost. Don't think that's not a true statement. Because we didn't need Susan Collins' vote, clearly. I knew that going into it, and I think you did too. We didn't need Susan Collins' vote. Amy Coney Barrett had the votes to get the nod to be the next justice on the Supreme Court before Joe Biden and Kamala Harris pack it. Likewise, I think Donald Trump was doing the same thing. Now, we call it the kabuki dance. You know what and I saw plenty of Republicans excoriating, so we're actually not going to vote for Amy Coney Barrett. And they don't know politics like I do. Because it was clear to me why she was not voting for Amy Coney Barrett and made it public. It was clear to me. It was clear to me why she didn't say who she was voting for president. Clear. It was clear. Maybe she didn't vote for Donald Trump. I don't know. But she couldn't say. She couldn't say either thing she said would have hurt her chances at re-election. She's very smart, as is Donald Trump, doing the kabuki dance, freeing up the GSA money for the transition because you don't want to look like a sore. If it looks like you've lost an election and you're going to contest it, then you've at least got to appear to be a good sport about it. And I think that's just what Donald Trump was doing. And I think it was the right thing to do. I mean, worst case scenario, Joe Biden becomes president. You are going to need a transition. Now, this just came out last night. People think it's all over. Oh, first of all, let me do this thing first. I've got a couple of things that just came out. First of all, I want to dispel what mainstream media has been saying. Here, I've just got to find it. I hadn't intended to do this till later. Okay, here we go. Now, Jenna Ellis is one of the team Trump players. She and Rudy Giuliani are the two acknowledged lawyers on the Trump team, whereas Lynn Wood and Sidney Powell are sort of operating on their own, but still just as effective, I think. Now, on Monday, President Trump's personal attorney, Jenna Ellis, predicted that legislatures in 4 key swing states would reverse their certifications of 2020 election results, which all show that Joe Biden won. The legislative approach represents another facet of the Trump team's push to reverse the allegedly tainted results. We do have parallel paths. We are continuing on the judiciary, and I do anticipate that we will get to the Supreme Court, she told Charlie Payne of Fox Business. The legislative approach is another means to an end result, which is the same, which is Donald Trump becoming president for 4 years. Ellis said she and Rudy Giuliani, who's in the hospital now, or at least last I knew he was, with COVID-19, have been going to state legislators and telling them that they actually have the constitutionally delegated authority to make sure that they select their delegates in the manner that does not allow for corruption. When all of these rules and laws in these states have been ignored, it's actually their constitutional obligation, responsibility, and exclusive power to make sure that they take back their delegates and they don't allow these false certifications to move forward. Ellis predicted that the legislatures of Arizona, Georgia, Pennsylvania, and Michigan would use their authority over determining electoral college electors in order to reverse the fraud, which Ellis argued was responsible for Biden's margin in those states. Which brings us to today. Today is Tuesday, December 8th. Well, there are two sides to this story. There is the truth. Then there is the mainstream media's narrative. Here's what CNN will have you believe about today, December 8th.
The date to watch here, Pam, is December 8th. That's what every state's going to be scrambling towards. Why? Because that's the safe harbor deadline. Essentially, if you're able to have the results known in your individual state, then essentially the winning party is able to have their electors who then present the votes for the Senate and the House to vote and count in January, And so everyone's going towards there. This idea of trying to run past the clock and maybe have the Supreme Court weigh in the way they did in Bush v. Gore before that safe harbor deadline and remove the decision from the House. This is something that would really be quite a novelty in American history. And I think that it would be unwelcome to those who appreciate the idea of the power of the people deciding the president of the United States, not litigation strategy.
All right, there is your constitutional mainstream media scholars. And here's Jenna Ellis, on the other hand, a Trump attorney on Newsmax TV, and was asked last night, actually, with December 8th coming up, should we worry?
Not at all. And in fact, tomorrow's quote unquote safe harbor deadline actually has no practical effect on the litigation. And even December 14th really doesn't. All of these are guided, of course, by Congress and when the states actually complete their next steps in terms of delegates. But when the delegate votes are actually opened, certified by Congress and counted, and that's when we have a president-elect, is January 6th. And so we have a case law even in Bush v. Gore, some quotations from Justice Ginsburg herself that actually would reflect that January 6th is really the deadline that we're looking at. So we still have a ways to go in this grant. And I think that it's really just the fake news mainstream media that wants to rush this to judgment and wants to say that, December 8th is really your only time period and you guys are out of time. We're running out the clock. And they really should study constitutional law further before making those claims.
Oh, but they're just journalists. No, wait a minute. They aren't even journalists. No, they aren't. They're talking heads. They're people who just walked out of Macy's and somebody said, hey, we need, are you a liberal? Yeah. Okay, we need you on MSNBC. We need you on CNN. Here, we'll give you what to say and you say it, okay? Okay, we'll pay you well to do it. Okay. Journalists. There are no journalists anymore. So there you go. Safe harbor deadlines today doesn't mean anything. We've got laws that have been broken. We've got an election that has been fixed. Why should a deadline stop the truth from coming out and the rightful elected official from being placed? Why? Why? Well, if we can just run out the clock, if we can keep them from finding out about the fraud until December 8th or December 14th, we're in like Flint. No, not so fast. Now, unfortunately, the 1,000 people or more who have put in affidavits, sworn statements, saying they witnessed voter fraud in mass numbers, how Republicans and Democrats can push that aside and throw out the cases is beyond me. They're all part of the swamp. This is from Free Pressers. The legal team, Trump's legal team, has obtained a Dominion voting systems machine from Ware County, Georgia. They say it contains evidence of votes for President Donald Trump being flipped to Joe Biden. Today's the deadline. They got it Sunday morning at about 8:30. That they should be ready with a statement today. Maybe that will be telling. Maybe it won't. I don't know. Again, hope, but not faith. because we know how eager, for some reason, how eager election officials seem to be to erase the machines of all their data. Fact. That's a fact. Why? Why? Why would they not want to hold on to it? Why would they want to take the bull by the horns and get rid of their data so soon? Why? Why? Knowing there are investigations going on. Bingo. That's why there's not another election coming up until Georgia. It's not till January 5th or 7th. Why would they want to destroy everything? There's only one reason, and that reason, that could be very telling. Now, I don't know if anything was done to the machine they confiscated. I don't know. You don't know. Nobody knows. They don't know if anything is being, or has been done to the machines that were so influential in determining the outcome of the election. We don't know. We just don't know. But we know that some of the machines had been touched, had been erased, reformatted, whatever they do to them. I have no idea. If they run on the Windows operating system, then probably Bill Gates had something to do with it. He's in the Biden camp, right? So is Apple. I don't know what they have for an operating system. So, John Fredericks reported for War Room with Steve Bannon that there were 37 votes that were flipped on the machine from the small Georgia county, which represents only 0.26%, a quarter of a percent of all of Georgia's ballots. When extrapolated to the entire state, it equals more, all things being equal, it equals more than 14,000 votes. Biden's lead in Georgia, less than 13,000 votes. Quote, "This is huge because we now conclusively know that Dominion voting machines were flipping data," according to Gateway pundits Joe Hoft. He goes on, "This supports our reporting on November 10th, where we shared that millions of votes were flipped in the election from President Trump to Joe Biden." Meanwhile, Georgia Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger failed to disclose that the testing lab hired by Georgia to conduct an audit of Dominion voting systems used during the 2020 elections had a long-standing relationship with Dominion. How's that computer saying go? Bad data in, bad data out. Someone who's very outspoken when it comes to cases like this, Mark Levin. And I'm sorry, I got a bunch of texts, and I'm aware of it. And I haven't looked at texts or messages lately. I'm sort of hyper-focused right now. Like 4 or 5 people had said they were trying to call in, and I apologize for that, but I've got so much information I have got to get out. We're going to have to do a call-in show here at some point and just do some calls. But I've got to get to this stuff this hour. Mark Levin, something very strange happened in America's democracy in the early hours of Wednesday, November 4th, and the days that followed. That's not Mark Levin. That was a pollster and election expert named Patrick Basham. He wrote an op-ed for The Spectator just over a week ago. It's a sure way to get the entire media focused on destroying you, but Basham spoke up anyway. And the media won't report on it. Media will not report on it. They won't. You don't know this because you aren't being told. But he certainly spoke up when he was on with Mark Levin on Life, Liberty, and Levin. Mark asked Basham to walk us through those things that you find puzzling.
Absolutely. I approached the article. None of us are objective, but we all try to be. We hope we are at least independent-minded.
This is
and
important.
so, how would an independent-minded person assess the quote-unquote outcome, as the media has designated it, of the 2020 presidential election? And I looked at three aspects. First of all, I looked at the quasi results, and if you look at the results, you see how Donald Trump improved his performance, national performance, over 2016 by almost 20%. No incumbent president has ever lost a re-election bid if he's increased his votes. Obama went down by 3.5 million votes between 2008 and 2012, but still won comfortably. If you look at those results, you see that Donald Trump did very well, even better than 4 years earlier with the white working class. He held his own with women and suburban voters against most of the polling expectations. He did very well with Catholics. He improved his vote among Jewish voters. He had the best minority performance for a Republican since Richard Nixon in 1960, doing so well with African Americans and, importantly, with Hispanics. So I sort of suggest this thought experiment. I think if one took 100 well-informed about the American political scene, 100 observers who were sequestered for the actual election night and since, and you gave them the vote breakdown by demographic group, and you saw where Biden and Trump did well or did poorly. You laid out all those numbers, but you omitted the one fact, or so I say, the one assertion that Biden had won the national popular vote in there, and consequently in the respective swing states was going to be the next president. And you gave them all the demographic data, all the exit poll data, and you asked them, so who do you think won the election? My suggestion to your viewers is that 99 at least out of those 100 independent, well-informed observers would say, well, obviously Trump, right? So we know from the vote itself, the alleged vote, the alleged result, that it is something very strange has happened, because the numbers just don't add up. They don't measure up to our polling that was conducted right up to the election and the likes of Richard Barris or the Trafalgar Group, the polls that were the most accurate by some distance. Everything suddenly went very strange in the middle of the night. Now, that could happen. It's just very, very unusual. And if this was an exceptional election, as some people assert, and that's why the numbers seem strange, then you would expect it to have a uniformity to that exceptionalism. So Joe Biden would have increased his support, not just in key precincts, in key cities, in key swing states, and nowhere else, but he would have had a sort of uniform victory. He was the challenger. He has apparently, allegedly, received more votes than any candidate for president in American history. And yet he has done very, very poorly in most of the country, except where it absolutely mattered. Another way of looking at this is to look at what I call the non-polling metrics, the things like party registration trends, how the candidates did in their respective presidential primaries, the number of individual donations, how much enthusiasm each candidate generated in the opinion polls. There are sort of a dozen or more of these metrics. Now, these metrics have a 100% accuracy rate in terms of predicting the winner of the presidential election. Some of them are more recent, like Google searches. Others, obviously, like registration trends, have far more history behind them. In 2016, they all indicated strongly that Donald Trump would win against most of the public polling. That was again the case in 2020. So if we are to accept that Biden won against the trend of all these non-polling metrics, it not only means that one of these metrics was inaccurate this time for the first time ever, it means that each one of these metrics was wrong for the first time and at the same time as all of the others.
Wow.
It is not statistically impossible, but it's statistically implausible. Another way of looking at what happened is to look at how the vote ballots were accumulated and how they were tabulated and counted on election night. And obviously since then, in fact, in places like California, they are still counting. And what you see there is a ridiculous, bizarre number of anomalies. Some of them are statistical, some of them are procedural. You have, for example, a historically low ballot rejection rate for absentee and mail-in ballots. Rejection rates which in the primaries earlier this year were well into the double digits, and which historically have often been very, very high. In these key swing states, or at least in the key swing counties, we're seeing rejection rates of less than 1%, often very close to zero.
Wow.
Now, given the increase in absentee balloting and the lack of experience that most of the new voters and those doing the counting would have with those ballots, it is implausible, to put it politely, that that figure would be as low as it was.
Wow. Wow. Well, that's I mean, why don't take anybody saying the election's over. There is no sign of fraud. Don't take that from anybody. Fight back. You don't have to be mean about it. I've just resorted to whenever somebody, and I love doing this. It doesn't take much time, and it makes them angry. My intent isn't to make them angry, but it makes them angry. They will write 2 paragraphs to me. Well, the vote's over, blah, blah, blah. There's no sign of fraud. The courts won't hear it. Nobody wants to deal with it. It's Joe Biden got 80 million votes, blah, blah, blah. And I will just put, okay, wait. Boom, that's it. That's it. And that's all I'm asking. Wait. Wait and see. I don't know that it's going to come out in Trump's favor. I just got a text. Can't have evidence presented if corrupt judges refuse to hear a petition for adjudication. Don't think there are corrupt judges? Well, I think they're showing their true colors now. I mean, just not even wanting to hear a case, which could well be the most important case of their life, speaks volumes of their integrity, as far as I'm concerned. I mean, even if you don't believe there is any credence to it at all, at least do the kabuki dance. Just hear it. And, let us say, okay, we exhausted all avenues. But when they when they toss it out of hand, you have to wonder what exactly is their desired outcome. I don't care if they're Republican or Democrat. Once you're in the swamp, there's a lot of good old boy network going on between the parties. Right? I hear about these people, we fight tooth and nail in the Congress during the day. But then after we're out, we go out to dinner, we have a few drinks. We find some things to agree on. Yeah, maybe Trump's not such a good president. Yeah, we'll do our best to help you make sure he doesn't get back into office. I can see a lot of Republicans doing that. I can see a lot who never would. But if you think you're ever going to get the truth out of the swamp, good luck with that. I think there are some people who are there bearing witness to the swamp who someday will write a book about it, and there have been books written about it. There have been books written about the corruption in the swamp. But the people who need to read them don't. They don't. Profiles in Corruption, Peter Schweitzer. I bet there's not a leftist who's read that. See how corrupt Joe Biden, Kamala Harris. I wanted to say something about that in regards to Willie Brown. That's how she made her way up the ladder. Willie Brown. Look up Willie Brown. That's all in Profiles in Corruption. Read that book. You want to see what real Kamala Harris is all about? I think it's very telling what she's all about. Me too. Believe the woman until she gets a shot at power. Then the woman, screw the woman. Screw the woman. I'm going to be the most powerful woman in the world. Read how she got there. It wasn't actually vertical, if you know what I mean. See where we are here. I want to try to take these things in some order here. Oh yeah, here the other thing I wanted to get to. This came out yesterday. Big news about the mail-in voting in Pennsylvania and its unconstitutionality. Those votes should be tossed. The case should be heard for us, for we the people. And if it gets to the Supreme Court, we're going to have a pretty good attorney making the case. Somebody who I trust in. I have more trust in this guy than most politicians in the swamp in Washington, D.C. Here's the report last night from Fox News, Bill Hemmer.
Got some breaking news now. Breaking news on a lawsuit seeking to throw out the election results in Pennsylvania. Mike Emanuel's got that story live in Washington. What are you picking up, Mike?
Bill, good afternoon. Fox News has learned that if the Supreme Court decides to take up the case, a high-profile U.S. senator will be arguing in front of the high court. Texas Senator Ted Cruz telling Fox News exclusively, quote, petitioner's legal team has asked me whether I would be willing to argue the case before the Supreme Court if the court grants certiorari. I have agreed and told them that if the court takes the appeal, I will stand ready to present the oral argument. The case being brought by Republican Congressman Mike Kelly and congressional candidate Sean Parnell. They argue no excuse, mail-in voting is unconstitutional, so they're seeking to throw out those ballots in this presidential election. Cruz has publicly pushed for the high court to take up the case, and the senator tells Fox News, as I said last week, the bitter division and acrimony we see across the nation needs resolution. I believe the Supreme Court has a responsibility to the American people to ensure within its powers that we are following the law and following the Constitution. This would not be a new experience for Senator Cruz. He served as Solicitor General for the state of Texas from 2003 to 2008. He has made 9 appearances before the Supreme Court. This could be the 10th.
Wow. Ted Cruz. Now, certiorari, I can't believe they threw that term in there. But I remember from my days of reading law lectures, a court like the Supreme Court reviews the findings of a lower court, which would be the court in Pennsylvania. And Ted Cruz would argue it. Hallelujah. Will it get that far? This point, I mean, I sure hope so. I hope it gets as far as it can. Somebody has got to hear this. Somebody has got to listen. Because by not listening, they are not listening to we the people. The race is too close. It was too, at best, the race was too close in these states to at least hear what the complaints are and what the evidence is, to just toss the cases, to toss them out, is malpractice. And more than half the country doesn't know because mainstream media doesn't talk about it. They're too busy talking endlessly about the COVID-19 vaccine and what a horrible person Donald Trump has been and how great Joe Biden and Kamala Harris will be. Jim Jordan. Love this guy. Jim Jordan is another great guy, representative from Ohio. He was on Newsmax. And he maintains that Donald Trump should not concede, period. Statistically, there's no way the president should have lost the election. The number of votes he got, the percentage of black and Hispanic votes, the number of down-ballot Republican winners, none of it makes sense. It flies in the face of the logical, and that's the key word, logical human being with common sense. And nobody in the court system wants to acknowledge that more than 70 million people think the election was rigged. Here is Jim Jordan, Republican from Ohio.
74 million Americans vote for President Trump. 11 million, approximately 11 million more than voted for him in 2016. Of that 74 million, over 70% think there is a major problem with this election. They think it was stolen. They think it was rigged. When you have a third of the electorate in your country who feel like an election was stolen,
right,
that is a major problem. That in and of itself, I mean, we want President Trump to win, but that in and of itself, the fact that a third of the electorate thinks there's a major problem in how our election was run, the integrity of our election, that by itself should be the reason that we do an investigation. That's why Congressman Comer and I called for it a couple of weeks ago, but it's been silence. It's been crickets from Chairman Nadler and Chairwoman Maloney.
Why? So why? Why can the American people not see action with the GOP on this issue? I'm telling you, Congressman, I travel around the country. This is the issue that people are worried about.
I agree. They don't want to dig into it because they know there are so many questions that need answers to, like, how did the president get 11 million more votes and lose? How did the Republicans win 27 out of 27 toss-up seats? How did we do so well in the Senate when they said we were going to lose the Senate? How do we pick up the state legislative races that we did and maintain all the others? How did the president get more Hispanic Americans, more African Americans? How did he win 19 of the 20 bellwether counties around the country? How did he win Ohio by 8, Florida by 3, and yet not win? I mean, it makes absolutely no sense. Americans instinctively know there was a problem with this election. And as I said, 70% of the 74 million, over 70%, think it was stolen. So let's do everything we can to figure out what happened for the good of the country. And hopefully we find it, and President Trump actually would still be president. But we need to do this investigation.
We need to do the investigation. We need to do the investigation. And the more the left says, stop it, Biden won, stop it, the more we want to do it, the more we ought to do it. There are reasons. A lot of the leftists don't know what those reasons are. They're just echoing the sound bites they hear on mainstream media. They hear from their friends on Facebook and Twitter. Their gods, their media gods are Facebook and Twitter, of which they only get one side of the story because the right gets censored. They're going off half-caught and ignorant. And I'm just so sick and tired of responding to these people because they're just ignorant. Just wait and see. Maybe Biden will be the president. I don't care. If he is the president, it'll be a stolen election in my mind forevermore. But if the courts won't hear it, how can they adjudicate it? Right? Texter texted that in. Good point. Remember I was saying they were in such a hurry to get rid of the data on those machines? Why? Why in Michigan? Why in Michigan? Is there an election coming up next week? Got to clear the machines. No, they want to hide the fraud. That's it. They want to hide. We aren't stupid. Well, some of us are. Speak for myself, and I think most everybody listening to this show right now. We aren't stupid. We know why this is going on. You probably, if you're a leftist, you don't even know what's going on. You don't know what's going on because all you see is others in your camp saying, the election was not stolen. Joe Biden got 80 million votes. He won fair and square. Because you don't know what's going on. You are ignorant by definition. I'm not saying you're stupid. I'm saying you're ignorant. You don't know the facts. You don't want to know the facts because the facts would get in the way of your narrative. But let me tell you something. This is from Free Pressers. Republicans on Friday, last Friday, raised concerns over a memo sent by the office of Michigan's Democrat Secretary of State. I want you to hear this. I want you to post this and let leftist progressives come after you for it. If you don't get deleted, you probably won't stay long enough before Facebook slams a warning on it or deletes it completely. But I want you to hear this because in as much as they will say it's fake news, this is a memo from the Michigan Democrat Secretary of State. And what did this memo say? This memo called for, quote, pushing for the mass deletion of election data. How about that? A memo calling for the deletion of election data. Now, is there any reason on earth that the election data would need to be deleted from all these machines post haste? The mass deletion of election data. I mean, how many smoking guns do you need? I mean, really? I'm not an attorney and I could argue this. Republicans said that Michigan Secretary of State Jocelyn Benson's office told clerks in Michigan counties to delete electronic poll book software and associated files amid calls to audit the election. Let me read that again. Republicans said that Michigan Secretary of State Jocelyn Benson's office told clerks in Michigan counties to, quote, delete electronic poll book software and associated files amid calls to audit the election. A December 1st memo from the Michigan Bureau of Elections, which is overseen by Benson's office, states electronic poll book software and associated files must be deleted from all devices by the 7th calendar day following the final canvass and certification of the election, which was November 30th, unless a petition for recount has been filed and the recount has not been completed. A post-election audit is planned but has not yet been completed, or the decision of the data or the deletion of the data has been stayed by an order of the court or Secretary of State. In other words, unless we have an immediate legal reason to hold on to the data, get rid of it. Now, I'm no Einstein. Be the first to tell you I couldn't even do algebra. I couldn't build a birdhouse. I could fix a transmission on a vehicle. And I'm not an attorney. But I can tell when somebody is trying to rush a process because they want to hide the evidence. And that's what this sounds. Michigan was a big loss. Get rid of the data, quick. I wasn't bringing that up when I said it earlier. I had reason to say that, and now you know. That's just Michigan. That's only Michigan. We don't know about the other states. They may well have done the same thing. Who knows how much of the data was deleted? Never to return without data? Without the proof being preserved, we have no case. Bingo! God knows. I don't know if you're a religious person. I am. God knows. He knows what's going on. He sees it. He knows exactly what's going on. Ask him what the outcome should be or should have been. So frustrating. We're out of time. That's frustrating too. I'm sorry I blew off a bunch of calls. I know, but I had to get to this. I still didn't get to everything I wanted to. A lot more to get to. A lot of it may be passé tomorrow. I don't know. But I did want to play a piece by Mike Lindell. Okay, I'm going to do that. Pardon me, I'm going to go over. I know this is not good. It's trouble. Trouble for me. Every once in a while, I've got broad shoulders. I will take it. I'm going to be running late with the commercials. But I want you to hear Mike Lindell. Yeah, the My Mattress guy. And My Pillow. No, was it My Pillow, My Mattress Topper, My Sheets. He's got My everything now. What's yours is his. What's yours is yours is his. You can buy it, but he still calls it My Pillow. Anyway, so Mike Lindell, huge Donald Trump supporter, all fired up about the election fraud, even though our media in Maine is calling it unsubstantiated and false. I heard that on Channel 6. News, Woke Center, Maine. It's unsubstantiated and false. The mainstream media refuses to even talk about it. It's the biggest story in the country right now, and they're refusing to cover it. So that tells you what kind of media they are. That tells you they are not news. If Donald Trump gets the presidency after all this is said and done, the left won't even see it coming. They're so busy fawning over out-of-touch Joe Biden and what can you do for me, Kamala Harris. They have no clue what's going on while they celebrate a Joe Biden presidency. There's plenty going on. And this should get you fired up before I leave you for the day. This is Mike Lindell. He gave a speech to Trump supporters in Georgia this past week. He's from Minnesota, yeah. But he gave a speech in Georgia. He's making the rounds. And he sounds beyond confident about the signature audits and the ongoing investigations and about the final outcome of the election. This is a few minutes long. This is Mike Lindell.
And we need to invalidate every vote in this country. We need to invalidate every vote in this country that was illegal. They need to be audited here in Georgia by signature. Governor here, Governor Kemp, you have to have the Secretary of State or whoever has to do it. You said it last night on TV. You got to do it now. That'll. I would say probably 200,000 votes are going to be pulled out of there that were signed illegally. Easy. And then you know what? Then we have that, and then all the other stuff that's coming. By the time everyone out there sees the stuff that was done here in Georgia and across our country, all the way to my home state in Minnesota, all the way to California, all the stuff that was done, millions of votes. When everybody sees this, even the Democrats are going to go, you know what? It's real, but we gave it our best shot. And by the way, if you're a Democrat, that's not your party anymore. That ship sailed a long time ago. That party's gone. You're in it with us. You're in it with us. If they let them steal this, if they let them steal this vote, which we're not going to happen, Donald Trump is going to be our president 100% for the next 4 years. That is a fact. 100%. I have seen stuff. The stuff that's coming is, that they're hiding on the news. They're hiding it on all the mainstream media, the evidence that's out there. But we've all heard about it through the corrupt, the corrupt social media, which they try and block, but they put the little fake disclaimer there now. Real good there, Mr. Twitter. And Suck a Buck from Facebook, all of them. It's horrible. So They're all afraid that Donald Trump will be in there because they'll smash up Silicon Valley, all those Facebook, Twitter things like a jigsaw puzzle. And I tell you what, I got a call today from Australia. You know who's happy about this right now or thinks they're in a good position? China. These guys over there, they told me the stuff that's going on over there, we don't hear about that over
and
here.
Iran.
All we hear about here is this fake news on TV. And they don't tell us about what's going on over there either. Over there, the world wants Donald Trump to be our president for 4 more years. Not just us here in the U.S., the whole world needs it. This is world collapse if we let this happen, and we're not going to let it happen. I want everyone out there, the purpose of this whole tour is to bring people, to let them know it's real, it's going to happen. I have heard directly from Sidney Powell and Linwood. I've heard the evidence, and believe me, the stuff they're getting now is just icing on the cake. Once you all see it, you're going to go, wow, it's worse than you ever could imagine. My home state of Minnesota, I made a promise to the president we would win my state. So I look at numbers every day. I micromanage. I went to each county in my state and looked at the deviations. There's impossibilities there. We actually won Minnesota by 65,000 votes. They just cheated so bad in Minnesota because we can vote 45 days early there, the earliest in the country. So when you can vote that far early, that gives you a lot of time to cheat. The rest of the states, the rest of the corruption, on election night at 11:15, that Donald Trump broke the algorithms of those machines that were keeping track. They did not have enough. So many people voted, they didn't expect that big of a vote. They didn't expect that. Okay, because their own polls lied so bad that they go, well, we're going to win by this, but their own polls were lying to suppress votes. This went so deep you can't imagine. But when they did that at 11:15, when they go, wow, we're not going to have enough votes, like Wisconsin, we're not going to have enough votes even to put in our extra votes. So what happened then is that everybody shut down at the same time. You know the odds of that happening? It's like that one way, who ordered the code red? Somebody ordered it, and they all shut down. And when they shut down, they had to backfill votes. And you guys are all going to see they had to backfill. What election takes? A week. Here in Georgia, a week? That was their hardest one. We got to keep finding more. It's not just dead people that voted. There's just different silos of everything, from the Dominion machines to corruption with dead people voting to signatures. The signature alone, I think you all heard our president say this, on the signatures. There in the normal election, I think it's like 6% get disqualified. Well, it's like 0.01 or something, or 0.03 here in Georgia. If you go by the signature, if this governor here orders it, tells his Secretary of State to order it, he said we should do it. He's all on board. He said last night, we'll see if his word's good. If he does that, now you take 6% from 0.00. That's going to be like 300,000 votes that are going to be polled that are illegal. Well, I guarantee you they're going to be mostly Biden votes because those are the corrupt votes. God's got his hand in all of this. If God would have just said, okay, Donald Trump wins by a little nose, you know what they'd have done? They would have cheated better next time. Right. Are you kidding me? This is an opportunity. We are so blessed that because he got more votes, because of the great president he is, that we're able to see this blatant cheating, because the cheating wouldn't have been found, but they had to stop the vote because it broke the algorithms in the machines. They didn't cheat enough. So when you cheat in a poker game and you're caught, you better really cheat or run out the door. You better do something. You better expand on that cheat, because they went all in. Their big play was then to get the 2 senators here in Georgia. They ain't getting them.
Man, oh man. Those commercials used to annoy me, but I love seeing them now. I love seeing that guy on TV. This is who Mike Lindell is. And I can imagine everybody who unknowingly bought a MyPillow or a My Giza Sheets or a My Mattress Topper. There's going to be a big burning of all of these products in some town square by some radical leftist group saying we've got to boycott MyPillow. I'm waiting to see it. It's coming, because you can't exercise your free speech without the left trying to cancel you. And I'll leave you with that, because that guy is fired up, Mike Lindell. And I'll see you tomorrow at 9 o'clock. This is fun. And again, I'm so sorry. I don't mean to ignore the texts and the comments and the calls coming in, but I prepare the show like there are going to be no calls, no texts, nothing. I have to be ready to go. And I was ready to go today, and I just didn't have time. My apologies. I'll try to do better. I will try to do better the next time. But you got to remember, too, I had 2 days worth of stuff, and I didn't get through a quarter of it. So back tomorrow at 9, Mike Violet, mi amigo, back here at 6 o'clock. I'll see you tomorrow. Have a great afternoon. I'm John James.
AM 1160, WSKW.
Hi, Seth Batty with Rockland Ford here. I'm pleased to announce that this year we're going to make Christmas special with our first ever Christmas is for Kids program. I know how special a program like this could be because when I was young, it saved many Christmases for my family, and I am honored to finally give back. What we're going to do is touch the lives of 50 children and many families in the surrounding area by putting presents under the tree for kids that otherwise would not have a Christmas. These kids have been struggling with medical issues within their